listen to me while I sing for you this melody. Through a song, I say what I have to say. Sometimes it's the only thing that helps me through the day. So many things on my mind. I gotta have a song that helps me unwind. If it wasn't for music, I don't know what I'd do. I say hard time, help me through. I gotta have a song. Well, yeah, bring me along. Yeah. Well, I gotta have a song. Well, help me carry on.
It's good to be here this morning. I am going to be preaching to you this morning about the reason why God is not in a lot of people's lives. There's no room for him. We got room for everything else, but not room for God. So I want to preach to you a little while this morning in reference to that and let you take a look at where you are and where you should be. Okay? So I'm coming to you from Jeremiah. I think I am. Yeah, Jeremiah, the 4th chapter, 30th verse. And when thou art spoiled, what wilt thou do? Though then clothe thyself with crimson, though thou deckest thee with ornaments of gold, though thou rentest thy face with painting, in vain shalt thou make thyself fair. Thy lovers will despise thee, and they will seek thy life. I want to preach to you a little while this morning. This message has been with me for a while, and I thought no better time to preach it than this morning. Now, understand this. People don't understand that if you don't serve God, you're going to serve somebody. You're going to serve either God or the devil. You got to make the decision what you're going to do. So when I look at this, God is saying to the church, you can't have a relationship with me with all these things in your life. We got so many different things, so many different people, so many of this and that. It's just crowded. We need to really clear out the house, get rid of all the excess, and say, God, you know what? I'm making room for you in my life. That's what we need to do. The church needs to clean out itself. Not just you personally, but the church as a whole. And said, I can see why now you are where you are because you're just lukewarm. He said, I would that you was hot or cold, but because you're lukewarm, I'll spew you out of my mouth. God said, I don't want anything to do with you. So it goes a little bit further and said, we'd rather spend all your time with many things and your own idols. You know, people got idols all over this country. We think of idols sometimes as people with a big statue or whatever. It's more to it than that. Way much more to it than that. Under the law, everybody around over a period of time was building statues that they could worship. There is no God greater than the God of heaven. And nobody else can take his place. No way, no way. See, so where you spend most of your time will say how much room you have here for God to come into your life. So what's there? I look at people that come here Sunday after Sunday, and I am convinced that their lives are empty. They got them filled with a lot of things, but they ain't filled with God. And if you're not filled with God, for sure, you're not going to make it in this world without him. You might go here and go there and try this and try that. At the end of the day, it ain't going to matter except what you have with him. The greatest relationship I ever had in my life is the one I had with God and still have with him. I had a good husband who loved me to death, and I loved him. But he couldn't possibly fill this place in my life. Nobody could. So I want you to look at yourself and say, most people don't have God first in their life in any aspect, but they sure don't have him at the front of other things. He's always, sometimes he's not even at the back of the line. He's not even in the line, period. See, God should be first in your life. He is everything to all of us. We don't breathe this morning without him. We didn't get up this morning without him. Yes. So you take a look at your life and say, you know what? I need to get it together. Quit telling yourself that and never doing anything about it. People in this church, there are people all here this morning that I want God to do something for me, do this or do that. But what are you going to do for God? What are you going to do for God? There is an open door here for all of us if we'll just come in. Your life will change drastically if you open the door for God. While you got him shut outside and thinking you're going to live this great life, I'm here to tell you it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So listen to this. The church as a whole and you as a person have too many lovers. Too many lovers. So if you don't get rid of some of them, all of them, you can't possibly have a relationship. I find out people want a relationship with a person, a situation, a job, or many other things, but they don't want one with God. That's what makes your life worth living. That's what gets you past the devil beating your brains out, making you do what he wants you to do. Yes. We'd rather spend our time with many things, including money. Your family should not be first in your life. Your husband, wife should not be first. That's why when something happens to one or the other, they fall apart. Should have never been first. When you make God first, you're going places. You're going to have some happiness in your life. Yes. I remember before I hadn't got saved yet and gave my life to the Lord, so I gave it to my husband. And there I was. We sit up and watch TV. We put the kids to bed, eat us a little ice cream and slice of cake, right, enjoying our evening. But you know what? It came a time in my life I didn't want that no more. I said to my husband, I said, you know what, honey? I'm going to give my life to the Lord. You're never going to be number one in my life ever again. That was 55 years ago. I stayed true to that. I'm never putting anybody more than I put God. Because if you do, you're going to have a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, a lot of disappointments. You can't get around it. Okay, so here's what he's saying here. He said, inflaming yourselves with idols under every green tree, slaying the children in the valley. Under the cliffs of the rocks, meaning they're offering up human sacrifices. Among the smooth stones of the stream is thy portion. They are thy lot. Even to them hast thou poured a drink offering. Thou hast offered a meat offering. Should I receive comfort in these? So we're trying to offer up God to something else, not what he wants. I don't want you to offer me up a sacrifice of a bunch of garbage. I want you. Don't give me a substitute. Says this, upon a lofty and high mountain thou hast set thy bed, even thither wentest thou up to offer sacrifice. Behind the doors also and the posts hast thou set up thy remembrance, for thou hast discovered thyself to another than me. God said you have got involved with somebody else beside him. And he says, and you're gone up, thou hast enlarged your bed, made thee a covenant with them. Thou lovest their bed where thou sawest it. So you know what? He's liking this unto when a woman or a man is having an affair. He said, you went up and you looked at the bed and you liked it. And he said, and then thou wentest to the king with ointment and didst increase thy perfumes and didst set thy messengers far off and didst debase thyself even unto hell. Thou art wearied in the greatness of thy way, yet sayest thou, there is no hope. Thou hast found the life of thine hand, therefore thou wast not grieved. He said, listen to this. You went out here and found somebody, so to speak, and you wanted to be with them. Nobody that has an affair didn't want to have one. The people that didn't have an affair, they didn't want one. If somebody has one, then they wanted it. Think about it this morning. So he said, I'm looking at you, how you going out after all these things. He compared the church as adulterous and whores. That's what he said. That's what he calls the people of God that won't give to him. Okay? Listen to this. In the scripture in the Old Testament, they used to go to what they call the high places. And the high places were the place where people would go and worship idols. And he said to them, you need to debase thyself even unto hell to reduce something in quality or value, to degrade, to treat or regard God with no respect. People don't really respect God anymore. They'll say and do anything they want to. But I'm saying to you this morning, you're never going to have a real life until you have it with God. You're not going to have it. He said your relationship starts to suddenly cease to function. Idolatry, extreme admiration, love, or reverence for something or someone. So where you are now, you are idolizing something in your life. It could be anybody. It could be anything. So don't say, well, I don't have an idol. You have one. If you haven't got God number one in your life, you got one. So when he comes in your life, it makes all the difference in the world. So take a moment and say, what am I doing with my life? Why am I so unhappy? Why am I so depressed? Why I'm so down in the dumps? You're there because you refuse to have a relationship with God. You want it with everybody else. Listen what he says. He called it spiritual adultery. So God said, I will destroy your high places and cut down your images and cast your carcass upon the carcass of your idols. And my soul shall abhor you and regard with disgust and hatred. God said, I'll hate you for that. You say, well, why does he have the right? Because he is the one. He's the one. He's the one that went through everything for us. Every time I pray every day of the week, I'm thinking, my God, look what you did for me. You didn't owe me nothing. He didn't owe you nothing. But he's been good in spite of it. Get up and make up in your mind, I got to walk with God. I got to change some things. You're never going to be fully happy without him. Never. I thought I could be. I went to Germany with my husband, and I hated Germany. I hope you know Germans here, nothing against you. But I did not like that place. It was cloudy and raining all the time, and Charles was gone to the field a lot of time. We were there, me and the kids by ourselves. I hated that place. And I remember saying to myself, boy, if I just could go back home. Home was a long ways off coming back to the United States from Germany. But you know what? I said to my husband one day, I said, honey, you know what? I hate being over here. I want to be with you. I'm going to stay with you. But if I had a way out of here, I'd jump out. But I can't get out. If you find yourself in that kind of position, and most people been there, I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know why I'm so upset. I don't know why I'm so depressed. Because the person that makes a difference in your life, you shut the door in his face. You say, I don't want him. Well, I tell you what, when it's all said and done, you're going to wish you had. You're going to wish that you had. Your relationships starts to suddenly cease to function. All you do is admire the thing. You know, we love sports. Whose team is this? Sometimes my kids be at the house talking. I say, what are y'all talking about? Nothing. Did you see what happened to so-and-so? Yeah, you saw that? He's not going to win. So-and-so, I'm thinking, get a good conversation going. About a bunch of people falling down with helmets on and doing all this stuff. I'm trying to say, well, give me a conversation. Give me something to talk about that's real. My husband was a great golfer. He loved to golf. And he said to me one day, Rose, you want to go out with me? I said, honey, I don't see any realization or any great feeling from hitting a ball in a hole. I mean, please make me understand why that's exciting. I don't care who wins, whether it's Tiger Woods or whoever it is. Who wants to be out there in that sun hitting a ball? I just thought it was the most boringest thing I ever seen. I said, I don't want to go there. But late in the evening, we walked the golf course. It was breezy and nice, but there were no balls being hit. Just me and Charles walking, enjoying the outside. But God said, if you don't take your high places down, if you don't leave that place of idolatry, if you don't leave the place where you worship everybody but me, he said, I will tear it down. I will remove it. You got to think for a minute, where am I in my life right now? You know what? We're not getting younger. We're getting older. Every person in this room is getting older. God said, I will destroy all of it because he has no love for any of that. He hates it. Spiritual adultery is when the people of God embrace foreign religion, where they offer an act of worship to foreign deities, a God in a hypothetical way, supernatural being who is considered divine or sacred, or anything referenced as divine. He said this is what spiritual adultery is. It's just like as if you had an affair on your wife or your husband. God said, you having an affair on me. I'm waiting for you. I've been waiting for you to give you a chance. I've been waiting to fix things in your life. But no, you don't come to me. You go everywhere else. Yes. Hypothetical is involving or being based on a suggested idea or theory, an idea used to account for a situation or justify a course of action or a guess without supporting evidence. All we do is spend our time in life talking about what we think will happen. Well, what about this? No, that won't work. Well, what about this? That won't work either. Well, surely something's going to work. God is. God is going to work. He said, and when thou art spoiled, what wilt thou do? Though thou clothe thyself with crimson, though thou deckest thee with ornaments of gold, though thou paintest thy face with painting, in vain shalt thou make thyself fair. Thy lovers will despise thee, and they will seek thy life. God said, you go after them and make them lovers if you want to. There'll come a day they'll despise you. And you can fix up and try to look cute and put all this stuff on. At the end of the day, they don't even want you either. You know what you find out about men after they've had you a while? And it don't take very long. They're going to take a hike. You say, where are you going, baby? You said that I was the thing you was looking for. Well, I thought it was. So I'm gone. You didn't think it was. You know what they find out? One woman is no different from the next one. One man ain't no different from the other one. Let's get up believing that, oh, this is the thing here. No, there's one thing that's going to work for you. He's called God. That's what's going to work. A lover, here's what lovers do for you. A lover can make you laugh, get your heart racing, but that doesn't mean that he or she will provide a place of security. Don't mean you can be secure in them, or you remain, or even remain faithful or support you through the tough times. Lovers don't do that. Lovers is there for, hey, let me get over here, get a little sex and what have you, and hey, I'm gone. They're not going to be there when you need them the most. They got this whole world going around and around on nothing but sex. Sex and more sex. At the end of the day, they become animals. I mean, they do some of the horriblest sex acts you could ever even think about. You know why? They don't ran out with sex. I've had so much of it. Is there anything new I can have? With God, he's new every day. Every day he's new. Yes. But lovers are fickle. What's fickle? They're fickle creatures because that many people interpret as love is transient, is a transient feeling, meaning they're on the go. They're not going to sit here and wait for you. Say, I thought you was going to wait for them. Baby, I got things to do. You got things to do, but what about me? Well, you're not included in this part of my life. And then you sitting there crying like an idiot. I thought you loved me. You act like you cared about me. Why are you doing this to me? Really? I dealt with a situation one time. I'll leave nameless. And this man had sex with this woman. And when the whole thing blew up, this was her answer. So it was just sex, huh? Yeah, just sex. Nothing else, no real life, no real excitement, just sex. You know what? Sex get old just like fried chicken. It's the truth. Think about it. It's going to get old. Hey, you may have a great time for a while. After a while, it's going to get old. Then you start looking for something else, going here and going there. And we think, oh, this has got to be, they got commercials that's talking about sex. People making noises, getting in the shower, running to the shower, all kind of crazy crap. And man gets himself wrapped up in this stuff, which is a bunch of foolishness and idolatry. It's no good. But he gets caught up in it. You better understand one thing, that lovers come for the moment and then they're gone. It washes over you with the force of a tsunami, only to fade away just as quickly as it arrived. That quick. When I finally got a husband, he wasn't on the move. We were settled. This is what we want to do with our life. But none of that made a difference without God. I had to bring him into my life. This stuff that people got that they're putting all this credence in is so horrible because they find themselves, some of them killed themselves and said, I don't have anything to live for. You serve God. He'll give you a reason to live. He'll give you a reason to live. So I looked at this. Unless you have the right approach to love, it's almost always a temporary experience, which subsides when the reality of the relationship becomes clear. No, man, I tell you, baby, I ain't looking for nothing serious. What are you doing parked in my bedroom then? This is serious stuff. In my bedroom? But you ain't looking for nothing serious? Get out of here. Furthermore, I ain't got to tell you to get out. I ain't going to even take you to my bedroom because you're not up for no good. You're just up for what you can get. And they don't care about it. I train my girls well. I said, when you get married, never let a man rule you from your bedroom, ever. Don't ever let them do that. Because if they get control of you in the bed, they'll get control of your life everywhere. Don't give in to that kind of crap. I really talk to them a lot and explain to them how important it is to maintain who you are. Don't give your soul to nobody. If you're going to give your soul away, give it to God. You must understand, always, lovers want a moment. They're not looking for a relationship. Then you have sex with him, then you end up getting pregnant, and you got a baby, and he says, well, I didn't mean to do any of that. I mean, I wish you the best, but I'm out of here. You feel like dirt. You feel so bad. Like, boy, you just walk out of my life like that? Yes. Yes. God will never walk out of your life. He will never walk out of your life. It don't take long to find out what a relationship is all about. Is this real or is this just a passing thing? I've counseled people that was heartbroken, sad, disappointed. It didn't turn out the way they had envisioned it to come out. I thought, sure, they stand at the altar and said, for better or for worse. He ain't there for better or worse. You got to tell yourself, I'm better than that. I'm better than that. I owe that to me. I owe it to God. Yes. I remember one time my husband was in Vietnam at the time, and the postman, he was always, because when I hear him on the porch, I would run down the stairs so I could see if I got a letter from my husband. And so one day I came down the stairs really fast. I come down because I'm so excited I'm getting a letter today. And he says, do your husband know what he's got? I said, I think he does. I got real evil. I said, yes, he does. That's why we're together. I know what I got. He knows what he's got. It's a good thing, but God's at the center of it. He's at the center of it. One day I came down the steps, and my mother lived in one side of the duplex. We lived in the other. And the postman was sitting on the step talking to my mother. And so I came down to go into my mother's house, and I went between the two of them. And so he rubs my leg. I took my fist and like to beat his head in. And my mother said, Rose, what are you doing? I said, my leg's off limits to him. That's what I'm doing. Don't touch it again. Every time you look up, women are so cheap anymore. Men just don't even get excited anymore. I thought, no, I'm not that kind. Thank you. You want to really touch somebody's leg, find a trick. She'll let you rub a leg and everything else to go with it. No, I don't have time for it. I got very angry from the fact that you even think that every woman wants you. Well, this one don't. And I had a real issue with it. And my mother told me, Rose, stop hitting it. Rose, what are you doing? I'm teaching him a lesson. He never did it again. He brought mail. He never did it again. That's right. A fickle person is a person that changes frequently. They never stay the same. That's what these people are, a lover. That's what a lover is. He regards himself as loyal. He has a lot of interest and affections, he called it. Capricious, given to suddenly and uncountable change of mood or behavior. Nothing's worse than you with some joker who looked like he just loves you to death, and then the next day, he don't want to talk this morning. Hopefully y'all got married, but if you got married, how long did it last? Where's the excitement? And I don't believe these people having honeymoons after they've been honeymooning before they ever said I do. You already had a honeymoon, go on home. Honeymoons is for people that have not had sex yet. They get married first, and then they go on a honeymoon. Everybody's got a honeymoon, and I've done everything, had the babies and everything else. We on a honeymoon. No. Think about it. Life is sweet with Jesus. Everything works. It makes me happy. It makes my life full. I don't have sad, miserable days because my life is full. I'm not looking for something to put in because my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. Goodness and mercy will follow me. Why? Because I serve God. Why are you so happy? Because I serve God. Why aren't you worried about the economy? I serve God. He said, I will supply all of your needs according to my riches in glory. And since I know he's going to supply it, I don't have to worry. There's nothing God can't supply that we need. Everything. Take a moment to think. Where am I right now in my life? Sister Rose talking about this stuff. Am I one of the tricks she's talking to? I'm sure we may have a few in the building. You can take care of that. You can say, you know what? I think I'm going to the Lord, and I'm going to acknowledge who I am, and I'm going to ask him to change my life. He can change your life. There's nothing worse than making bad things, doing things wrong, and then living to regret it. You know how many people that die with regrets every day? That I hate I did that. I wish I hadn't done that. Boy, if I could do it all over again, I wouldn't do it the same way. The bad part about that, we don't always get a second chance. Sometimes you already messed it up. Some people may get second chance. Some people may get third chance. But at the end of the day, you're not guaranteed any chances. If you come to God and say, Lord, I'm sorry, I'm sad, I feel unhappy, would you please help me? Will you please change my heart so that I won't want to do wrong things, but rather the right thing? And you cannot do right by yourself. You got to have God to help you. He said, go up to Lebanon and cry and lift up thy voice in Bashan and cry from the passages for all my lovers are destroyed. Where are they at? All the people that I thought were good in my life, all the people I thought I could make a life with, all the people I thought he told me he loved me. He said, I love you. You told me you loved me. Did you not mean it? No, didn't mean it. They tell anybody they love them. I told my girls, I said, don't get carried away with flattery with men, because they tell every woman that. They tell that one that's fat as a pig and the one that's skinny as a rail. They tell them all the same lie. You're what I've been looking for. Really? Well, you're not what I'm looking for. Stand up for yourself. You know what? We don't have any value. We need to get value because Jesus gives us value. He said, I'll always be with you. I'll never leave you. I'll never forsake you. I will be there today. I will be there tomorrow. I will be with you until the end of the world. Nobody's going to make you that kind of promise and can't do it and won't do it. Understand, what are you looking for? Something different in your life. Nothing is worse than when you thought you really had a great man, got married. Only a few days later, he lay over there snoring, and you look over like this. How in the world did I get myself here? He's looking horrible, mouth open, snoring. No. Or he gets up and walks across the room, and you say, you see, he's bow-legged. I never saw that before. All this stuff that you had way up here has no value. You know what? When you love your mate, no matter what they look like in the early in the morning, you still love them. You still love them. I was just saying about that, about my little Penelope and my little pool I had at one time. Penelope doesn't care what you look like in the morning. She don't care what you look like at night. She gonna come and lick you and give you some sugar. Just as sweet as she can be. I love that dog to death. But then she got old and decrepit and couldn't see and had arthritis in the hip. I thought, we gotta let you go. We gotta let you go. But let me tell you something. We think this is the thing that's going to make me happy. This is the thing that's going to make me happy. All these things here, that's just what I've been looking for. And if a cheap woman comes to you men, you ought to say, I'm better than that. But most of you can't say it. You look cockeyed and crazy. And don't believe it. Solomon talks about the whorish woman and how he saw a young man void of understanding and going after her steps take you to hell in the end. And you're caught up with it. Read your Bible and tell you what they're like. You don't have anybody else to tell you? Read the Bible. Yes. You can have the greatest life in the world if it's found with Jesus. It is a beautiful life. Listen, if you want to change today and say, you know what, Sister Rose, I sure would like to live my life different. You can start it today. You can start it today. There is not one thing that God won't do for you today. You got to want him today. Are you willing to say, I give up? Lord, do it for me. If you did it for Sister Rose, you can do it for me. If you fixed her heart, you can fix mine. My husband used to say to me, he said, honey, you know what? I think I could go from one side of the world to the next, and I would never worry about you being unfaithful to me. Never. That's because he knew who I was. I knew who he was. We trusted each other. We loved each other. And I thought that is a feeling that you can't explain, is that no matter where you go, you'll find me the way you left me. I remember after preaching his funeral that Friday, I hadn't planned to say any words to him, but before I let the people come around and view his body, I went to the casket and I bent over and I said, honey, I'll always remain the lady that you always wanted me to be. I'll never change you because you died. I will always remain the same. the funeral director said, Rose, you want a chair to sit on? I said, no, I don't want a chair. I just want to leave some last words with my husband. He can't hear me, but it makes me feel good to tell him. I want to tell him that. I'll always be 28 years ago, I lost my husband with a brain aneurysm. And 28 years later, I'm the same woman that he left. You're never going to come around my house and say, did you see who was that when in Sister Rose's house? Jesus. That's the only person come in my house. When I go to bed at night, on the side where Charles used to sleep, all this is my Bible, my study, everything is on that bed. I wake up in the middle of the night, I'm going to read scripture or talk to God. I don't need nobody. Tell me, don't you need somebody? No, I'm not you. Nobody can have the fullness of God and still have a need. It can't happen. When you got the fullness of God, you are complete. You are whole. You are functioning properly. Nothing is better than that. And me and my sons the other day were talking about it, that I never one time in the 28 years that he's been gone ever wish, maybe I should get married again. For what? I had a great husband. Nobody could ever replace him. And I thought to myself, no, that wouldn't be for me. A lady asked me whose husband died right after my husband died. And we had lunch together. She said, Rose, what are you going to do? Aren't you going to get you somebody? I said, honey, I don't want nobody. Her husband wasn't dead good. She was looking for somebody. Give the man a chance to at least start smelling. But for all of a sudden, I don't know. I just want to, I'm going to need somebody. You need Jesus. That's what you need. You need Jesus. If you get him, you got everything. He said, Lord, I'm with you always, even to the end of the world. I'll never leave you nor forsake you, because he loves us. That person gave his life for me that I could be free today, that I could have a free life, that I don't have to go anywhere. Charles wasn't dead good before they put the lie out in the community. Did you hear Sister Rose is engaged? I said, they're just telling a lie. Engaged to who? Where is he? People just like to lie. If I'm miserable, I want you to be miserable. I'm not miserable. Did I miss my husband? Surely I missed him. Surely I grieved over the loss. But did I feel like I need to replace it? It could never happen. It could never happen. And I say to you this morning, all these things that you keep trying to put in as substitutes and not have God, they'll never actually fit into anything. You always got this loose leaf going. Nothing happening. What's wrong with me? And you get some lying joker that tells you how beautiful you are, how great you are. He tells everybody that. I told my girls, don't believe flattery, it's a lie. Baby, you what I've been looking for. Move on, don't waste your time. He told some other trick the same thing. This is what I've been looking for. Let me tell you, if you look for anybody else and anything else other than Jesus, you are a loser. You are a loser. He said, thou hast played the whore also with the Assyrians, because thou wast unsatiable. Yea, thou hast played the harlot with them, and yet considerest not, and still couldn't be satisfied. You went to all these things, done all this stuff, but you're still unsatisfied. What is this? Well, I thought you said you was happy with this person. Thought y'all were going to get married. He gave you a ring. He took the ring that he on somebody else's finger he gave and brought it to you, and he's going to take it from you and give it to somebody else too. Just because he give you a ring don't give you no guarantee. I didn't even have a good ring when I got married. Me and Charles were poor as house mouse. I didn't have no money. You know the ring I put on my finger? It came out the bubblegum machine. But you know what? It lasted for 35 years. Yes. And I didn't even care. All I wanted to do was get married. I love this man from the very first day I ever saw him. I love him. I don't need any substitute. I'm happy. Well, how could you be happy with somebody who couldn't give you all these things? I'm not looking for things. I'm looking for joy, happiness. Yes. He said, you multiplied your fornication in the land of Canaan and Chaldee, and yet thou wast not satisfied herewith. No matter what you did, you was never satisfied. Think about it this morning. You may not like me when this is over, but you'll have to say, well, she is telling the truth, but I'm not going up there and getting no prayer. You wish you had. You wish you had. Prayer is the best thing that can happen to you. When everything else is going down, go to Jesus. Yes. Don't ever let him go. He's not going to let you go. He'll always be there for you, no matter what. I hope as you listen to this morning that you will look at your life and say, boy, I wish I had a full life. Why am I always looking for the next thing? And I go over here and I try this one, and I try that one. Nothing works. The only thing that works with man in this world is God. He makes the difference in your life. I've talked to young girls, people crying, heartbroken. He said he loved me. He said this, he said that. Don't buy it. The only person that says he loves you is him, and he means it. He means it. But he said, I will gather all thy lovers with whom thou hast taken pleasure, and all them that thou hast loved, with all them that thou hast hated. I will even gather them around about against thee, and will discover thy nakedness unto them, that they may see all thy nakedness. God said, I'll strip you naked and let them look at you. Everybody in this room tonight better be glad for clothes. If nothing else came good out of the Garden of Eden with them, was the fact we had to wear clothes. Everything else was a sin. Can you imagine sitting in church with a bunch of naked people? I can't even imagine that. And then start shouting when the music is going? No. No. That would be a sight to see. You know what? You couldn't even get in the church for laughing at people pointing across the church. He made us naked, and then Adam and Eve fixed it where they could put clothes on. They only wanted clothes after they sinned. After they sinned. But sin has a way of stripping you of everything that you counted good. It has a way of taking from you. God has a way of giving to you. Here's some more. Here's this. If this is not enough, I'll give you more. That's who he is. God said, I will judge thee as women that break wedlock and shed blood are judged, and I will give thee blood in fury and jealousy. And I will also give thee into their hand, and they shall throw down thine eminent place, and shall break down the high places, the place where they worship the false gods. And he says, and I will tear your high places down, he says, and then he said, they shall strip thee also of thy clothes, and shall take thy fair jewels, and leave thee naked and bare. When the devil gets through with you, you have nothing left. Because the scripture says he comes to steal, to kill, and to destroy. Well, if I know that's what he's coming for, why would I give him the time of day? They'll still serve the devil. He'll do nothing but beat you around, treat you bad, going to take you to hell in the end. But I'd rather go ahead and serve the devil. You don't want to go to that place. Believe me. If you read your Bible about hell, you don't want to go to that place. There's a lot of people in hell. A lot of people. Literally millions upon millions upon millions of souls are in hell because they chose to serve the devil and not God. You need to make a decision. Don't let nobody tell you this is a boring life. This ain't no boring life. This is a great life. Yes. God said, I will give you into your lover's hands, and they shall throw down thine eminent place, and shall break down thy high places, and they shall strip thee also of everything. They shall also bring up a company against you, and they shall stone thee with stones, and thrust thee through with their swords. And they shall turn thine house and they shall burn thine houses with fire, and execute judgments upon thee in the sight of many women. And I will cause them to cease from playing the harlot, and thou also shalt give no hire anymore. Don't let them take advantage of you. It's not even worth it. Say, who are your lovers this morning? Ask yourself the question, who's your lovers? If God ain't number one in your life, you got lovers elsewhere. And they will hurt you and hurt your heart. They don't care. I'm so glad that my grandmother was very strict on me, and I didn't like it. I was a teenager. My grandmother raised me because we had a mother that was unfit, and she wouldn't let me breathe hardly. I just couldn't stand her. So I said to my grandmother, well, how am I going to know if I want a boyfriend or what boyfriend I'm going to like? She said, I'll tell you what, baby, ain't none of them no good. And I know that's not true because you had one. I thought you had one. Let me find out. Let us go see. I wasn't left home. I wasn't gone from home any time before you soon recognize how cold and uncaring this world is. And nobody really cares for you. God does. That's what counts. That's what counts. You can change it. But you got to get rid of all the stuff that you got on hand. Get rid of it. Get all new stuff. You know, it's so nice sometimes you move into a new house or something and you buy new furniture and you move it in, you kick out all the old. That's the way it is with God. Kick out all the old and bring in the new. And there's nothing like it. You don't have to worry about how I'm going to make it from day to day and what's this going to be and how is that going to happen and will this work down the road, and if they lay everybody off on the job, or what's going to happen to me? God said, look to me. I will supply all of your needs according to my riches and glory. But not anybody's just going to get it. You're around here serving the devil, go over and talk to him about it. See if he'll help you out. God ain't into helping you out while you serve the devil. Well, you know what? I pray. I know the man. You don't know him. Not the God we're talking about this morning. Get for real. So I'm going to change my life. There's people in that audience this morning is looking so serious. Because you know why? Because what I'm saying to you this morning, you know it's true. You know it's true. Make up in your mind, you know what? I think I'm going to give it a chance, Sister Rose. You got nothing to lose. I mean, you can kick it everything you want to kick it, but at the end of the day, something out there is going to work, and he's called God. Give him a chance. Let him fix you the way you need to be fixed. It's a good life. And you know what? They sing the song, you remember, P? You've never been loved, you've been loved by God. How sweet it is to be loved by God. Nobody, but nobody will ever love you like that. And you ain't got to worry about him hurting you and breaking your heart. He'll never do it. He'll always be there for you. You know what I'm finding out? People are having a difficult time in life, running into one thing after another, and you try to show them Jesus, they'll say, well, I wasn't looking for that. Well, keep on going to where you're going then. Keep on crying at night and looking out the window to see if he's coming back. His car ain't out there yet. Got his nasty shoes still parked under your bed. We're trying to show you a way out. You can have a way out. God loves you. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. Since he gave everything, come on, people. Nobody else loves you enough to die for you. He died for me. I tell him thank you every day. Every day of my life, thank you for dying for me. Where would I be today if it wasn't for that? I hope this morning that you are paying attention. When you leave, you might be a little hot under the collar against me, but you'll be all right. Make room in your life for God. Make room. That means I got to throw out some things, because I got all this other stuff in here. Throw the stuff that don't work, throw it out. And say, God, I'm going to let you be my lover. Be the person who cares about me. He'll look out for you. He'll never cause you pain. When everybody else is causing you pain and lying to you and all this stuff, he'll never be there. Never. Think about it this morning. Say, you know what, Sister Rose? I think I'll give it a try. You have nothing to lose. The song we sing about, if you tried everything and everything failed, try Jesus. Try Jesus, it won't fail. It always, always works. I am so glad. I'm glad I'm not in Germany anymore, but if I was in Germany now the way I am now, I could take it with a breeze. I'm glad I don't have to, because it's great. It's great here. So our musicians and singers are going to sing for you in just a minute, and I'm going to have you to come up and say, Sister Rose, I'd like to have what you said this morning. I can change my life. I can be happy. I won't go to bed worried anymore, wondering, is it somebody else? Nothing is worse than that. One of the words he had looking out the window at 2 o'clock in the morning, that joker laying up with somebody else. Go to sleep. So you get with God, you can go to sleep and be just as happy. You got to worry about him not coming home, because he's always there. Yes. Taking care of you, looking out for you. God bless you. I love you people to death. You said it didn't sound like it to me. But I did. I care. I truly care. I'm just trying to point you in the right direction. Don't get mad at the person that's trying to help you. If I can get you out of the devil's claws, I'm going to do it. If you choose not to get out, then you got a hard life. I thought about my mother. My mother lived the hardest life. She never had any real anything. I looked at her one day and thought, God, I'm so glad I didn't come out like you. She had a miserable life. Always staying in some shack, having an affair with somebody. I'm so glad I wasn't my mother. There was nothing there that I would say I'd like to have that like my mother had. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And she wasn't very clean. I'd go by her house every now and then, and my dad, he wasn't no good either. But he was very clean. Could go to his house and find it was spotless. My mother was just the opposite. I took my little daughter over there when she was about 3 years old. She said, this house is dirty. She went and got her a paper towel and said, look at all this dirt in here. And I couldn't say nothing. And my mother laughing at it. That wasn't funny. It was not funny. You can have the best life. Spend the rest of your days serving God. See how great it is. You've been serving the devil all this time.
I'm glad that man, he didn't let teardrops fall. You know what? I know he'd find joy in every tear that I shed. Oh, see, and I'm glad that man didn't make heartaches. 'Cause I know he'd give me more. He'd give me more than I could bear. Oh, see, and I'm glad that man, he didn't create me. Oh, Lord, for one day. Man, he surely forsake me.